Now on Denver 7 News at 7 o'clock on Local 3, some are pushing back on the decision to fire Aurora's police chief.
She did an incredible job during a very difficult time in the city.
We'll explain the process to find Aurora's next top cop.
Also this morning, police and prosecutors will sound the alarm over fentanyl, how lawmakers are trying to prevent more deadly overdoses.
Plus, gearing up for the big game, the Rockies are ready to take Coors Field. The special guest helping kick off the season tomorrow.
Oh yeah, all eyes will be on the mound as we have one more day until opening day. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday morning. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Jessica Crawford. Meteorologist Lisa Hidalgo has the first look at your Denver 7 forecast.
Mother Nature clearly a Rockies fan because she's calming everything down tomorrow. It's going to warm up. It'll be beautiful on Friday. I'll show you that here in just a few minutes. Today, though, the wind's still a bit of an issue. Berthoud passed a recent wind gust of near 70 miles per hour. We're going to see some of our gustiest conditions over the eastern plains today. And still, we have a number of alerts. Red flag warnings, high fire danger for the entire Front Range. And then that high wind warning out east that extends into the middle of the country. Now, all of these alerts in effect until tonight. We shouldn't see any alerts tomorrow. It's still going to be a little breezy on the eastern plains tomorrow, but it'll be a lot calmer here in town. Beautiful clear skies, lots of sunshine here in town. We've got a little cloud cover on the far eastern plains, but it's a nice start. Now take a look at tomorrow's home opener forecast. Right around 56 degrees by noon. So before the game, as folks are heading downtown, we'll be in the low to upper 60s. During the game. Some really pretty weather in store tomorrow. Coming up here in a few minutes, today's still going to be on the windy and cool side as your kids are getting back home at right around 54 this afternoon. Coming up in a few minutes, I'll show you when the next cold front's going to hit. It will change things up for us, Jason, on Sunday.
We do have a problem across downtown. I'll get to that in just a second. Want to start with that Boulder closure of Arapahoe back at 55th, and that's for that sinkhole that swallowed part of a bus. You'll hear about that later on this morning. But you could use either Baseline to the south or Pearl up to the north to get around it coming off of Almont. Take a look at the drive that we have across downtown Denver. This northbound side of I-25 messed up right here at Spear. Take a look from the camera there, and what the problem is that left lane crash right there, and it's blocking up, looks like at least the left lane, partially that center lane. So that's why traffic is backed up across downtown from the drive time about 15 to 20 minutes coming all the way from Alameda across downtown. So there's extra time needed there by the tune of about 15 additional minutes. The southbound side is busy anyway from the north side, about a half an hour there. So it's going to be a busy drive across downtown right now with that new problem at Spear. The south side of town otherwise looks okay, getting busier in those usual spots.
Well, this morning, Aurora Police will begin their search for a new chief. The city manager fired Chief Vanessa Wilson yesterday, 2 weeks after Denver 7 first reported she was on her way out.
Denver 7's Colette Bordelon joins us in the studio. And Colette, we already know who will be filling this position in the meantime.
Yeah, it's this man right behind me. Division Chief Chris Jewell will be temporarily in charge while the city works to find the new face of the Aurora Police Department. An interim chief should be picked in the next couple of weeks, and the goal is to have a new chief named in the next 6 months. Aurora's city manager says the decision to fire former police chief Vanessa Wilson came down to two main concerns: overall management and leadership of the department. But Wilson's attorneys say her firing is without cause. For her part, Wilson released a statement through her legal counsel saying she's proud of the progress the department has made and that the department will continue to protect and serve regardless of who leads the agency. Her firing comes just a day after an independent report was released, which criticized a backlog of investigations in the department that are still waiting to be processed by the records department. But the city manager says Wilson was not fired because of the records problem, saying it really comes down to a lack of confidence in Wilson.
As a leader in the community, I think she excelled. I think that she did, in terms of the many crises that we have experienced, I think she did very well in responding to those. I think obviously that was her strength, and she deserves accolades for that. But as I said, there's more to managing a police department than that aspect of it.
Wilson will get a severance package, more than $200,000 a year. That's her yearly pay. She'll also get her benefits. We'll be watching the search for a new chief closely. Live in the studio, Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
All right, thank you, Colette. While the city manager has his version of what happened, activists say Wilson was making progress in building trust between communities of color and police. Community activist Angela Baker and Aurora NAACP President Omar Montgomery say Wilson was the first police chief in the metro who showed she cared about her community. And now they're afraid that trust has been broken.
I don't think it helped. I think if anything, it may increase that divide.
Even if she didn't agree with us, she at least heard us. She showed her face in the community. I can't say the same about other city leaders.
Baker says the community should consider recalls for the leaders who backed the city manager's decision to fire Chief Wilson. We have more reaction to Wilson's firing and our past stories leading up to this decision right now on the denverchannel.com and the Denver 7 Plus app.
Fentanyl deaths are becoming far too common, particularly among young people. Denver 7's Veronica ACOSTA joins us live. And Veronica, lawmakers want to do something about this, but how to do that is still a matter of debate.
It is, and we have new results of a survey that I'll get into in just a minute. But first, police and prosecutors, they are going to be highlighting what they're calling a, quote, alarming increase in fentanyl deaths. They say this is nothing short of a health crisis down in the Springs. They will be addressing how this is being addressed on both the state and a federal level to try and turn the tide here. Just 2 weeks ago, if you remember, there was a group that unveiled that bipartisan bill to do just that. It increases penalties, for smaller amounts of the drug, and in cases where dealing with the drug causes death. That bill also aims to widely increase access to things like fentanyl strips, Narcan, even treatment for those seeking some help who might be addicted. While the bill was widely applauded by those lawmakers involved, a new poll shows Coloradans may not be as thrilled. It found about 3 out of 4 Colorado voters agree that when it comes to addressing drug-related issues, the state should focus more on prevention and treatment and less on punishment and jail time. The poll also found most Colorado voters oppose increasing the penalty for drug paraphernalia, or rather drug possession, from a misdemeanor to a felony. As for that state bill, lawmakers will continue discussing it during a committee hearing that's happening on Tuesday. And of course, we'll keep you updated on what comes of that. We're in Wheat Ridge this morning. I'm Veronica ACOSTA, Denver 7.
Veronica, thank you. Trial begins today for an Aurora man charged in the overdose death of a 16-year-old girl. Jorge Shequiab is facing more than a dozen charges, including murder. The teen from Lakewood died from mixed alcohol and fentanyl toxicity back in 2020. Prosecutors say she believed that she was taking OxyContin. He admitted to investigators he provided the drugs and alcohol that killed her. He also faces sexual assault charges.
We have an update to breaking news we first brought you yesterday morning. Investigators in Aurora now say a 17-year-old faces arson charges in connection to 10 different fires set in one neighborhood back to back. It happened at an apartment complex near Iliff Avenue and Peoria Street. Fortunately, no one was hurt, but 10 people had to leave their homes. The Montbello community is closer to having a new grocery store and more affordable housing. After 7 years of planning, leaders say they expect to break ground on the project in November on what used to be an RTD park and ride. 97 affordable housing units will be built, and about 55 of those will be for those making 30 to 60% of the area median income. The project is expected to create more than 100 jobs, too. A $1.4 million federal grant helped push the project forward. If you're interested in donating or applying for those jobs, we have a link on the denverchannel.com. Today is the official groundbreaking for another affordable housing project in Denver. The Rose on Colfax is being built by Mercy Housing on Colfax Avenue on the city's east side. When it opens next year, it'll feature 82 units and a child care center on the first floor.
There isn't much affordable childcare available in that neighborhood, in that area. And so by bringing in a high quality provider like Mile High Early Learning, we'll be really giving people a resource, an affordable childcare option for working parents in that area.
The Rose on Colfax will offer housing for people and families making less than 70% of the area's median income. Well, opening day is here for Major League Baseball. The Cubs and Brewers will get things started at Wrigley Field around noon our time. That is the first, though, of 7 MLB games today.
And tomorrow, it's the Rockies' turn when they take on the LA Dodgers. Blake Street now has a big Rockies purple stripe right down the middle of it. Today, we'll get an inside look at Coors Field and all of the new food and drink offers that you can look forward to this season. A familiar face is going to throw out that ceremonial first pitch at tomorrow's game. New Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson is warming up his arm. You might remember Wilson has some history with the Rockies. He played 2 seasons in the minors with the team after they drafted him in the 4th round in 2010. He's also done a few first pitches for the Seattle Mariners when he was there with the Seahawks. Wilson gets back to work with the Broncos soon. Off-season workouts start Monday. Starbucks employees say they're overworked, underappreciated, and under-rewarded. How workers in our state are taking matters into their own hands.
Also, as our temperatures warm up, Coloradans are gearing up for camping season. I'll introduce you to a product helping prevent wildfires so we can enjoy the outdoors.